Hello and welcome to the Editing Podcast. We've put together a series of bonus episodes called Point of View, in which we chat to experts from the editing and publishing world.
This interview is with Beth Hamer, who's a pro proofreader and the Society of Editors and Proofreaders Conference Director. We talked to Beth about what goes into organising a successful conference for editors.
Here we are again at Aston University for the SfEP conference in Birmingham, and with us now is Beth Hamer, who is our conference director. Hello, Beth.
Hello, Denise.
Hello,
Hello, Louise.
Lovely to have you.
It's lovely to be here.
Good.
So, Beth, we're at the end of the conference. Lots of people are packing up now. It's wrapping up. How's it been for you?
It's been tiring. It's been stressful at times, but honestly, I've had a ball. It's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we've had a great time.
And I mean, the most important thing is that the delegates have a good time, and I think they have. Everyone seems to have been laughing and chatting, and just generally. Obviously, I'll need to see what the feedback forms say, but I think it's been a success.
Well, I've certainly had just a lot of positive chat about lots of different aspects of it, whether it's been the speakers or just the venue itself. I think it's been a really good experience for everybody.
Just personally to say that I've been to 4 conferences now, and this is definitely my favourite. I think you've upped the game every year, so thank you.
Thank you. That's really nice of you to say so. And particularly as I organise 2 of those other conferences.
No, I think you're just refining it.
It's nice that I'm getting better at it each year.
Well, I don't think that's not a bad thing.
No, I know.
No, it's true. Because you started off from a good point, but I think every year they get refined, and I think the level of the quality of the speakers goes up every year. I think
there's definitely a sense that I'm hearing from the members, and I feel myself, is that the feedback that we give to you and your conference team is listened to, and little refinements are getting made, so that that's why the experience is getting better year on year.
I love getting the feedback. I mean, I love getting the feedback because I like it, obviously, when it's good. But I really like to know the things that can be improved to make the delegates' experience even better. So we will never go to a venue that doesn't have bedside lights or tea and coffee making facilities in the rooms.
The broadband connection.
That won't happen.
Tea and coffee.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, Wi-Fi is it's a basic human right these days.
But so is tea and coffee.
Yes.
And bedside lights.
But bedside lights is not necessarily something that would have been on your radar
before.
No. So many people.
But it is now.
It is now, exactly.
So we do listen. We really do.
Yeah. So what would you say is what are the main benefits of for members of coming to conference?
Meeting other members face to face, and I mean, obviously we have local groups that people go to, but they're local by definition, and we have mini conferences, but this is probably the one time of the year when members get together from all over the country, all over the world. And we've got people here from New Zealand, Australia, America,
Canada,
all over Europe, Canada. So it's the only time of the year when all those people get together, and they have the opportunity over a weekend to learn, listen to interesting speakers, but also to socialise and network.
Find their tribe.
Find their tribe, absolutely.
The social thing is just so important.
Yes.
For a profession that's it's so solitary a lot of the time. And that's the one thing that comes through whenever you talk to people. It's just like it's such a high for people to be among their people.
I sort of always think it's like people come out blinking into the sunlight, vitamin D deprived, and
because we do have in-house members, of course we do, but there's a good chunk of the membership that is freelance. They work from home, and they often don't see other editors and other people in a work environment from one day to the next.
I mean, generally we, people talk to each other on Twitter, on Facebook. Obviously there's a lot of communication, on those platforms, but it's that face-to-face thing. You can't.
I was just thinking as well, even for the in-house editors and proofreaders, sometimes they're the only person in their company that does that sort of work. So to actually hang out with other people who get why there's an issue about you know, misplaced modifiers, or you know, where you put a comma, and that it matters and that they care about it. To be among other people who feel the same way is really energizing, isn't it?
I agree.
And the other thing that came up there, and that when you were talking, Beth, was that although the conferences to date have always taken place within the UK, it is still an international annual conference. There are people from all over this event.
From more and more places. I think there was someone from South Africa as well this year. So from more and more places, which is brilliant. You know, and hopefully they go back and spread the news about, you know, the SfEP in general and the conference. You know, I think the more, the merrier.
So can you tell us a little bit about how you go, how you as a conference director go about choosing a venue and choosing the speakers? Because you've nailed it this year. We've had wonderful speakers and a wonderful venue.
The venue, well, I mean, we have a list of requirements, you know, from the very basics of how many rooms we need, how many bedrooms, how many breakout rooms, how many, you know, the main plenary sessions, how many people need to be able to fit in, down to, you know, the kinds of things that I was talking about before, like the bedside lights and the, you know, just the creature comforts. I mean, people are spending their, as I say, you know, 90-something% of SfEP members are freelance. They're spending their own money to come to this conference, and you know, it's £400+. It's not cheap. You know, that's a lot of money to freelancers. And okay, it's tax deductible, but you know, they're not being paid for by a company. It's their cash. So I feel really strongly that they need value for money, and that's not just the speakers. That's feeling comfortable, feeling, you know, having a comfortable bed to sleep in, having
sleep,
being able
to recharge, and
having decent food.
Exactly. Good food. So those things are just as important, you know, in venue terms as having good meeting rooms. You know, a venue really has to deliver on all those fronts. In terms of the speakers, I mean, so if I talk about Chris Brookmeyer, who was gave our Whitcomb lecture this year, I mean, I've loved his books since he started publishing them. I've been reading them, you know, for years.
We should maybe just say, for listeners who don't know what genre he writes in.
So he writes thrillers, mostly set in Scotland. He's very funny, very sweary, as we discovered yesterday morning. The first C-bomb did cause me to, but everyone laughed, so it was all right.
We should say it was 9:30 in the morning. But that made it all the better.
On somehow. A Sunday. The day of the Lord.
And he got it out the way early.
He did get it out the way early, and he did give a little trigger warning first. But no, yes, I wanted to get a writer, so I wanted, because the theme of the conference was words, where they come from. And obviously the words we work on come from writers. And I thought, who do I like? So I thought, Chris Brookmeyer, here we go. So I emailed him, and I actually invited him for initially last year, but he was already booked. So I said, are you free in 2019? He was. So, you know, it was as simple as that. And God, I'm so pleased I did. It was one of the funniest things.
He went down an absolute storm. At some points, I was listening to him, but I was watching the audience. Because I was watching to see if there was any, like, perhaps less enthusiastic faces, and I didn't see a single one actually.
No, and there were belly laughs, which making anybody belly laugh at 9:30 on a Sunday morning. But he did it. But he was so articulate, and it was funny, but you learnt so much as well.
But also, I really felt like he had written that for that audience, an audience of editors, which was brilliant, because I think, you know, there are people who kind of have the speech that they go around and do, and which is great, but you know, it really felt like he had personalised it for us, and he emailed me this morning just to say thanks for inviting him, and to say, you know, he doesn't think he's ever had such an enthusiastic audience on 9:30 in the morning before. So I think he really appreciated the response he got from us. And In terms of the other speakers, I mean, it's a variety. So often people immediately after the conference will email me and say, oh, I've got a great idea for a session, or how about inviting this person to speak, which is great. I love that. I love it when people do that. I can't always, make them happen, but if people have got ideas, I love it when they let me know, because it saves me having to think of like 30 or 40 session ideas.
There's a lot. You have to program a lot of sessions, don't you?
Yeah, so we have, this year we've had more than ever before. So we've had at least 5 sessions running at any one time. And, sometimes 6, or quite often 6. And at other times, writer or speakers or people who think they've got something we'll be interested in will contact me themselves, which is great. And other times I'll just kind of have an idea about a session and try to find a speaker for it. Like this year I came up with the idea of the grammar amnesty panel. So 3 great grammarians
fighting it out.
of our grammarians, and people can go and ask the stupidest grammar question, and not, it's a safe space. I put together a writers panel, or I got Kia Thomas, who hosted that session, put together the panel of writers to talk about their experience of being edited.
That's going to be really useful.
Yeah, definitely.
Here at the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
Beth, thanks very much for talking to us. It's break time now, and we can probably hear that there are people coming in and lining up at the Grays station.
I need a cake.
There's some cake and coffee. So thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us.
And thanks for doing such a great job. Denise and I have certainly had a ball this year. We've really loved every minute, and I'm always a little bit sad to leave these.
I know.
I can feel the end drawing near, but looking forward to next year.
Thank you. Well, I'll thank you for asking me onto your lovely podcast.
You're very welcome. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Editing Podcast. You can rate, review and subscribe to us via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whichever platform you use to listen.
And if you have any questions, please do get in touch with us via the Editing Podcast Facebook page. We've put all the links we've mentioned in the show notes, so you can grab everything there.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.